What if your greatest defeats never looked like defeats at all? Machiavelli once warned, the most dangerous failures aren't loud. They slip quietly into your daily life, disguised as comfort, disguised as routine. Someone spends years in the same job, telling themselves, "At least I'm secure." But one day, they wake up, and younger colleagues have already passed them by. That defeat didn't roar into their life. It crept in like a candle burning lower each night, or like sand slipping through an hourglass until time runs out. Here's the truth. Life rarely knocks us down in one single blow. It's the unnoticed choices. The first trap starts with the easiest lie we tell ourselves, that comfort equals safety. We often confuse comfort with security. It feels safe to settle into a routine, to stay in the same job, the same patterns, the same circle of life. But Machiavelli warned, what feels safe can be the slowest road to defeat. She's been in the same company for 7 years. Every morning she drives the same route. She sits at the same desk. She talks to the same colleagues. On the surface, it looks stable. She tells herself, "At least I'm secure." But one day she watches a new colleague, 5 years younger, get promoted ahead of her. That's the moment she realizes comfort has quietly stolen her growth. It's like the story of the frog in warm water. At first, the heat feels harmless, but by the time it notices, it's too late to jump out. Comfort works the same way. It lulls us into stillness while the world keeps heating up. It's only a pause before change. Real security comes from adaptability, from skills that stay relevant, from relationships that stretch us, from experiences that keep us sharp. The moment life demands more, the walls fall. Machiavelli compared it to rulers who built castles but neglected their armies. But without soldiers ready to defend, they were doomed. Our routines are the same, but without growth, they leave us fragile. Maybe you feel a little like Sarah. Maybe your routine feels safe, but deep down you know it's keeping you in place. Here's the lesson. Nothing in life is truly secure if it isn't growing. Even the strongest tree, if it stops putting out roots, will fall in the wind. So ask yourself, is my comfort protecting me or quietly trapping me? Because if it's the second, that's not security. It's even harder to see. Because it hides in places so small we almost never notice them, and the next mistake is even harder to see. It's the little cracks we ignore every single day. Machiavelli warned that small dangers left unchecked will destroy great powers. In life, it's the same. We often think it's just a little, but tiny cracks have a way of growing, and by the time we notice, the damage is already too deep. He runs a small shop downtown. Every week, he overlooks a few small expenses. Too small to matter, he says. But over the months, those tiny losses pile up. And one day, David realizes he can't pay rent. Not because of one big blow, but because of 1,000 little leaks he never fixed. That's how silent defeat works. It doesn't always strike with a crash. It seeps in like water through cracks in stone, one drop at a time. Big failures rarely come from big mistakes. They come from the little things we ignore, the habit we let slide, the 5 minutes wasted every day that turn into years. It's like watching an hourglass. One grain of sand looks harmless, but one by one, they drain all the time you thought you had. Machiavelli compared it to rulers who let small rebellions go unpunished. Each seemed too minor to worry about. But together, they destroyed empires. Your life works the same way. Small cracks, left alone, can bring down even the strongest structure. Maybe you felt it too. You keep saying, "It's only small, I'll deal with it later." But later never comes. and suddenly what felt small is now too big to control. So here's a simple reflection. Ask yourself, where are my small cracks today? Because ignoring them doesn't make them go away. It only makes them grow stronger in silence. And once they grow strong enough, they don't just hurt you, they collapse everything around you. So don't wait for the wall to fall. Patch the cracks while they're small. Because small losses left alone always turn into silent defeats. But there's one more mistake Machiavelli warned about, and it may be the most dangerous of all, because this one doesn't hide in comfort. It doesn't hide in small cracks. It hides in our own kindness, in our desire to keep the peace, even when the truth is at stake. And that's where we're headed next. The last silent defeat is the hardest to face. It doesn't come from comfort. It doesn't come from small cracks. It comes from our desire for peace. Machiavelli warned, it is better to be hated for truth than loved for lies, because when we choose harmony over truth, we trade respect for silence. She manages a small team. She wants everyone to get along. So when someone misses deadlines, she stays quiet. When ideas fall apart, she avoids conflict. But slowly they lose trust in her. When the big project fails, nobody looks to Maria for answers. She gave them peace, but not truth. And in the end, she lost both. That's how silent defeat works. But avoiding truth only delays the pain. And when it comes, it cuts deeper. It's like a room filling with smoke. Everyone smiles, pretending nothing is wrong. Nobody wants to open a window. But the longer they wait, the harder it becomes to breathe. Peace without honesty isn't real peace. Maybe you've been there too. You hold back your opinion to avoid conflict. You say yes when you mean no. You stay silent to keep others comfortable. But silence doesn't protect relationships. Respect doesn't grow from harmony. From the courage to speak truth, even when it's hard. He watched rulers fall because they surrounded themselves with flatterers, people who told them only what they wanted to hear. When the real problems appeared, no one spoke, and by then it was too late. So ask yourself, where am I choosing peace over truth? Is it at work, when you bite your tongue in meetings? At home, when you avoid hard conversations? With yourself, when you pretend everything is fine? Silent defeat thrives in silence, and the longer you avoid truth, the heavier the collapse when it comes. Because peace built on truth lasts. Peace built on silence crumbles. Maria's story is not rare. We think we're protecting others, but really we're quietly losing ourselves. Don't let that be your silent defeat. Because now we've seen them all. Small cracks ignored until collapses, and peace chosen over truth. Each one invisible until it's too late. But here's the good news. Knowing them means you can stop them. And in the final part, we'll connect these lessons and discover how to turn silent defeat into silent strength. They don't crash into your life with thunder. And they stay for years. Comfort that feels like safety, each one stealing strength, day by day. Silent defeats are only fatal if you refuse to see them. Once you notice them, they lose their power. She thought her routine was security, but now she's learning new skills, stepping into challenges. Her comfort is no longer her cage. He lost his shop to small cracks, but today he tracks every detail, every leak. And he's building again. She stayed quiet to keep harmony, but she learned the hard way that honesty creates respect. Now she speaks with kindness and with truth. Their stories aren't just stories, because in some way we are Sarah. And here's the truth Machiavelli wanted us to see. Power, real power, doesn't come from comfort. It doesn't come from silence. From the courage to act before the whisper becomes a roar. So ask yourself tonight, Where is your silent defeat hiding? And what small step can you take to stop it? Because your silent defeats don't define you. What you do next does, because in the next video, we'll open Machiavelli's hidden survival map, a playbook for turning silent defeat into silent strength. You don't want to miss it. And let's keep walking this path together. It requires listening to the whispers and choosing to answer them with courage.